I don't know how to do it.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Meeting's called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome everybody to the Truth and Taxation meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to present the proposed budget levy for 2026. The attendees will be given an opportunity to discuss the 2026 budget with the commissioners. Discussion on property valuations is not part of this meeting. With that, I'll turn it over to County Administrator Steve Ewing.
Thank you. Just give me a second to zoom in on the slides for anybody who would watch the video. I'll try to cut your guys' heads off. Don't have to see just little bits of you. Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome everyone for coming. Glad to have you here. I do have copies of our budget and slide deck over there. If you want copies of that, please feel free to help yourself. Okay. First of all, again, my name is Steve Ewing, County Administrator, and all the commissioners are present here tonight too. We always start out with the statement: market values shown on your truth and taxation notices were established in the spring and are not a subject of the hearing tonight. I will preface that by saying we do have representatives from the assessor's office. If you do have questions after the meeting, feel free to visit with them if you have questions regarding that. Okay. Values for the 2025 assessment, which is the taxes payable in 26, were discussed and established at your local Board of Reviews and the County Board of Equalization held earlier this year, which was on June 6th of 2025. Okay. The purpose of our meeting tonight is to go over our proposed budget and our tax levy for 2026. And obviously we want to obtain public feedback on our proposed county budget as well. The budget, the development timeline, this is a long drawn out process. It takes about, from when we start with the budget part of it, about 6 months, but the values start in January and they run through June. And then in June, we as the county officials begin working on the budget, putting the budget together, working on having meetings with all of our different department heads during the summertime, and it takes several weeks to get all of those done. So it's a real big effort from everybody, all the boards help to get through that, and really put a lot of work with the department heads to work on their budgets for the following years. So that goes through, I get that done in August, and then in September, we do a proposed budget, which is announced, and the board approves a preliminary budget and levy in September. Okay. Then the next part of it, the truth and taxation notices go out in November, and that's what you received at your residence with information from all the taxing districts, taxing organizations that are on your forms. And November and December, truth and taxation meetings are held. The 26th budget is adopted on December 23rd. That will be our last county board meeting of the season. And during the committee, it'll be at a regular county board meeting. So there'll be no action taking at this meeting tonight. It's just information at this point. And once that's done and adopted, then the auditor's office gets to work and gets ready to get the tax statements out. And they go out in March of 26. And when that goes out, then we start doing the whole process all over again for the next year. So it's just a constant movement through the system. Just another slide on the assessment cycle. That process started this budget year, what we're working on way back in October of 2023. The sales studies from the assessor's office are used to set the values that ran from October 1st of 23 through September 30th of 24. And that study establishes the 2025 values, which is referred to as the 2025 assessment, which is used for the taxes due and payable in 2026. Did I get that correct? Thank you. And then we have another slide here. Just one more slide the assessor's office puts together for us every year, and it shows our split of our estimated market values. So we're virtually almost 80% agricultural, followed by 16.5% residential and 4.5% commercial, industrial, and other. It would be really nice if we could get some more commercial industrial to help us with that too, instead of, it puts a lot of tax weight, unfortunately, on agriculture and residential. We could really use some more commercial around here. So this is just a slide I put together on a levy and program aid over the years and where we've been and where we are now. It's a very busy slide, but it takes over the past 5 years. And we have seen obviously a steady increase in the levy. And part of that is it costs a lot to run the county. Costs keep going up. We have employees that obviously work here. We're up to about 92 employees and 5 county commissioners. So we're just shy of 100 people with all the part-time and full-time that we have here. So we do see increases there, and you can see our levy increases have been, 8.7, 8.4, 7.9, 7.3. And then our preliminary this year was high, and it was at 12.46. And a lot of that came from just increase in costs of doing business. It really is expensive right now, and you know it as well as I do. We buy things, and it's tough, and that really is what brought things forward to ahead with a high levy this year. And also, we also we got cut a little bit in our program aid too. Unfortunately, counties kind of get the back burner on program aid, where the cities do very, very well in city program aid from the state. We're looking at in 2026, $737,000 in change coming in. So it's actually went down a little bit from last year. And over the years, it's been going up, it's been going down, and more down. So that's what we get. That's program aid, and that comes from the state to us as well. This slide was working off of our preliminary levy, which we're planning at about a 12.46% budget. But as I finish through this, we'll have some better news for everybody. We had a board meeting today, so we're at 12.46. And our main drivers of this, we have general revenue, which encompasses 25 different departments, from the county commissioners through the sheriff and the jail, things like fairgrounds, EMS, emergency management, culture rec. All the different offices we have here: auditor, treasurer, assessor, recorder. All the different offices are in general revenue, with the exception of road and bridge. And road and bridge has their own for their staff as well. But that covers the majority of our costs are in general revenue. You can see on there as well. This is a 25 slide here. I wasn't able to gather all the information from our local county for the meeting tonight, however. But it's just difference in preliminary levies of what we do. And once you look at one county, you've seen one county. We're all different. We are all ag related, but we have differences in population. If you look at Lyon County, they've got 25,000. Their levies is 16 million. From ours back in 25 was 9.8, and we're about 9,200. Rock, we tend to go closer to them. As they're about 9,600, just a little bit higher in population than us, but they also were able to levy a little bit less too there. And I think they have a little more industrial commercial than we do here, unfortunately. And we'd obviously, like I mentioned, like to get more of that if possible. Impacts on the budget. This is what I tried to put in here, is what's going on and what's happening in the county, so that you have an idea there. Department staffing and operations, we're requesting no new staff for 2026, no requests at this point. That doesn't mean we won't have, people may leave us, but we aren't adding any new people, new positions at this point. We did see a larger increase in our health and human services levy this year to about $1.9 million. That's an 8.79% increase. And unfortunately, that had to go up because of cuts that happened at the state level and federal level. And those do trickle down to us when those happen to us. So that does unfortunately increase that levy. And we do have 2 commissioners that serve on the Health and Human Services Board here, Doug and Dan. And if they have comments on that, we can talk about that in a little bit too, if you want to mention that. Go ahead if you've got something you want to say, please.
Well, cuts, but mandates as well.
Mandates, correct, yeah. So public health is also a portion of our health and human services, but is a separate line item, and it's operated out of Southwest Health and Human Services. They kept the line on that pretty well. It's almost a 0% increase going into 2026. Personnel at the county here, we did see approximately almost a 9% average increase in our health insurance cost. It was not a huge increase over last year, and that's all of our plans for over 2025 for single and family coverage as well. We are currently in union negotiation contracts. All of our unions are up for contracts for 26 and 27. We work on a 2-year. So our sheriff's deputies, their union is up, the jailer dispatchers is up, road and bridge is up, and the courthouse union are up for negotiations. And we've met with 3 of the 4 units so far, and we have another meeting the 19th of this month to meet with the jailer dispatchers local. And then we're meeting again. So we're still in process with that. So no contracts have been settled yet for 26, 27. Operations, what's money? We are members of the Minnesota Insurance Trust. And we did see a slight increase in our property casualty insurance of 12.6%, and it amounted to $197,000. Property casualty and around here, that's our buildings, equipment, cars, trucks, that type of thing that are on the road. Our highway department has items that are not roadworthy and are just used out in the field, so those don't count with that, but they've got that. So one area that does cost us money is vehicles. We do have a pretty good sized sheriff's department here, and unfortunately they do run into deer occasionally, and it's very expensive, as you know, to fix cars anymore, and it doesn't take a lot to total them out. So that's a increase that virtually all of the counties were feeling this year on property casualty. Just the cost of buying new, fixing them, parts and that type of thing, it's just very expensive. So that's why we did see a larger increase on that. Workers' compensation insurance, we can gladly say we had a 0% increase for 26. So our premium for our revenue and our road and bridge is $150,578. So we're actually very pleased that happened that way.
And not by accident, because our loss prevention or safety programs help out.
Exactly. Impacts, what impacts our budget and our levy going forward. Building and grounds infrastructure projects. We budgeted $200,000 for projects in 26 that include various tuck pointing around the historic courthouse building. We need to take care of that. So there's money involved in that. We do need windows and paint on the clock tower, and the actual very top of the clock tower needs to be painted as well. It takes a lot of beating over the years and hail and storms and everything, and it's time to take care of that. That's a metal roof in that thing too, and it takes a very special person or people to go that high and work on those. So we do have that budgeted for work there as well, for those types of things. We do get some wind production tax, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, it's not been very stable over the past few years. It just keeps fluctuating a little bit, as you can see what my 3 years I've got listed there as well. And then board and I have talked about it, and we just said, and I told them then, if the turbines aren't turning, we're not making any money off of them from the wind. So we've got older ones, newer ones, and they do curtailments and all kinds of different things. So they're not necessarily all running at the same time. I can't remember how many years ago, probably 8 or 10. I mean, we actually were getting over $1 million a year in wind revenue. And that slowly decreased from there, even though we have more wind generators around, it seems like. And yeah, that's 26. Yeah, I got a different one, different slide deck. So for 26, we're estimating 800,000. I hope it comes in a little more than that, but I'm trying to do it conservatively, because we're just seeing changes in that, especially since we were lower than that last year. So I was kind of conservatively doing that as well. Other impacts that's going on here, other things we deal with, Historical Society, which is the Pipestone County Museum. They asked for an increase in their appropriation from 52.5 up to 55,500. They're doing projects up at the museum, and it's good for the county to have that. Our Senior Citizen Center, we do appropriate $6,000 a year to them, no change. They came in for the meeting and requested no update in that. So we're pleased at that. Other things going on, we're in our 4th year with a program called ACE, Advocate, Connect, and Educate, which is formerly the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. Did I hit that right? Okay. So we're working with they're asking for 25, 445 this year, for 26, down from 71,000. In our Southwest Government Center on 8th Avenue Southwest. And Soil and Water Conservation District, Extension, Zoning and Solid Waste are all in that building as well. And that turned out to be a very good project to turn that building into more office space as well. We were able to move office out of the City Hall building downtown and get into a good building that was there. That used to be the mental health building and they left Pipestone. So we remodeled the building 2 years ago and moved them in there. And that's just been a godsend to have them out there. It's working well. Our library services, very minimal increases for 26, 3% to Minders here in Pipestone. Based at 3% also for the Edgerton Library at 33,960. And Plum Creek has been holding steady at 3250 for about the past 3 years now. So library service is something else that the county helps fund as well. Next slide here, next two, I'm going to turn this over to Nick Bergman, our highway engineer, if he'd like to make some comments on the two slides on the jagged line here. Do you want to see the other one first? Or you want the jagged one
Nope,
first?
this one's fine. This is a graph we show every year. It's just this, like a history of our, total maintenance costs on county roads. As you can see, the last couple of years, we've been down a little bit, because we've had light snow years, so that's always good.
Ready?
Yep, next one, please.
Okay.
All right, here's a little overview of our, 2026, levy for road and bridge. We're proposing a levy of $2,044,454. That would represent an 11.7% increase over 2025. We're budgeting for a few major pieces of equipment and putting money away towards a new highway department facility. So motor grader for 26, we're proposing $186,930. 137,500 for a plow truck, 45,000 for a pickup, 2,500 for a pickup topper, 12,000 for survey equipment, and 300,000 put away for a new highway maintenance facility. The one we have is nearing end of life. We see that coming, so we wanted to start saving money so that doesn't hit us all at once. And then this proposed levy does not include any effort to increase our reserves.
Is there any other designated for a new shop? Or is this the first time we're starting that?
This is the first year.
Okay.
Yep. And we don't really have a date in mind. We just know our facilities, you know, it's nearing end of life, so we just don't want to get hit with that all at once. We want to start saving for that.
Built in the early 80s.
80?
82.
81?
3, was it?
Okay.
Something like that.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
I thought. Okay. Anything else, Nick?
Nope, that's all I have.
Thank you for that. Appreciate the input. Okay. Other county efforts to reduce our budget and levy. We have over the years done some things. We've consolidated our family services to Southwest Health and Human Services, which I did mention already. 6 counties are involved in that in Southwest Minnesota. And then you have our levy dollar amount listed there again for that. We consolidated our county transits 5, 6 years ago, more than that now, about 6 or 7, with UCAP running out of Marshall. So they're operating the transit system with us now. And we have the old MnDOT building over by the subway. They use that for their bus garage, and then have an office in the EMS emergency management ambulance building over there too, is where they work out of. So we
A
do
quick
help them
note
out
on
with
that,
that.
Steve.
Go ahead, please.
They're talking about building a new building, but it's not any of our money. So if you see them talking about a new building for the bus garage for the
Transit.
UCAP for transit. That's all.
They're talking 26, if I remember right, talking in 26.
That's next year.
Yep. They're planning on building out on North Hiawatha to the east of our family services, social services building. They've purchased a lot from the city out there for it, out by the dental center out there. Good. Thank you, Dallas, for that. We do have our emergency management, our EMS director in one position. We've had that for decades. I did that years and years ago before I was doing this, and that was a great job. I love working. County. It's a great place to be. And our deputy emergency manager is also the veteran service officer as well. So we've got two people working out there on it. And they do just a bang up job too. We did implement a wheelage tax 10 years now, pretty close to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably in there, yeah.
That does generate around 162,000 a year for road and bridge. And that you see when you do your registration renewals and that you see a wheelage tax on that for that. And we also do have a small aggregate tax that the county does get for county road and bridge for gravel that is taken out of gravel pits within Pipestone County. That does bring a little bit more. We don't have near as much as Rock County, but we do have some. So it does help, and that's used to offset some road and bridge expenses as well. Over the years, Road and Bridge has done some help. They've integrated their sign technician and their solid waste technician. It's a shared job. He works doing signs and he also helps out over at the solid waste facility. Trevor Erickson does that, does a heck of a good job out there for us as well. Nick and the highway department have done some delays on road and bridge projects, done some shifting of projects to widening versus full reconstructions to help save some money as well and get some more life out of the roads. Because roads are very expensive to build. And we've been using private auditors versus state auditors for years now and running about $55,000 a year for the audit. And we had just finished our 2024 audit and got a good clean bill of health on that. And the county has no bonded debt, so we don't owe anything on anything at this point anyway. Remains to be seen, depending on what happens with the highway department shop, that type of thing, building out there. We'll see how that goes at that time, but nothing that needs to be done now anyway. But those will all be objectively looked at to see if it's better to do it on our own or bond for it. Okay, here's the best slide of the night. Board met today. We had a regular board meeting and they worked really hard today. Nick was here and I was here, and part of our regular board meeting that we have lowered the percentage that you see on that spreadsheet I've got there. We worked really hard on that. We reduced the budget by $800,000 this morning. So road and levy reduced by just about 100,000. We reduced the revenue fund by 300,000 and utilized revenue reserves that we have from our in reserve and using 400,000 out of reserves for that. So we're doing about $800,000 will be coming out of that. So instead of a 12.46% levy, we're down to a 5.24%. And we're very pleased to share that with all of you here that we were able to make some cuts because we realize that it's very expensive what we're doing, and we do have some reserves and help with that, and we're pulling in ours as well to try to soften the blow to all of our taxpayers. So the board will take official action at the 23rd meeting, which will be the last one of the year.
Steve, do you want to explain that when we set the preliminary budget?
Yeah, right. We can always lower the levy, but we can't go higher than what we did back in September. So we could have left it the same or reduced it, but we couldn't. We obviously wouldn't go any higher on it. So we were able to take some funds out and bring it down a little bit. So what you see on your preliminary truth and taxation notices, you'll see some sort of a decrease on the county side of it when you see your full tax notice in the springtime, back in February. So I couldn't tell you exactly what it'll be yet. It all needs to be aggregated and put through the system. So, but I'm very happy that the board was able to do this and be able to lower the levy and the amount of money that we're levying the taxpayers. With that, open it up to anyone, gentlemen in the gallery back there, questions, thoughts, comments, thing you'd like to bring up to the board. I'd be happy to hear from you.
Anyone like to
Pressure.
Yep, if anyone would like to comment, please come forward so that you can get caught on the microphone up front. Good evening.
First of all, Luke Johnson, when are you gonna start representing Woodstock?
I think I have.
We never see you. As far as I'm concerned, you don't do a good job.
I was just there, probably a month ago.
Yeah, and you were representing the cops, the sheriff's department. They ain't doing their job in Woodstock. And the other thing is, I figure it costs me $1,000 more every year to live in this county. What are you doing with all the money?
What are we doing with it?
Yeah,
We're trying to be careful and spend the money as best we can to take care of the county.
you charging everybody $1,000 more every year?
I can't tell you that.
But I figure it's cost me $1,000 more every year to live in this worthless county. What are you doing with the money?
We're spending it on programs and on roads, bridges, people. We need to
Well,
do our job.
I'm not seeing an improvement anywhere.
Anything specific you'd like to see?
What are you doing with the money?
It's all on the sheet. It's all designated here what it costs.
Another question I got, Thanksgiving, you had the day off with pay.
Yes.
How much does that one day cost the county taxpayers?
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head.
I want to know.
I'll get you that information if you'd like.
I want it,
Okay.
but I figure my taxes are too high. You got the valuations too high. And I don't see you guys here you don't care about Woodstock, you don't care about Holland. Luke Johnson, you're supposed to look out for us, and I don't see you doing anything for us.
I guess I would say that I do care, but I don't understand why you feel that it's not important to have law enforcement in your area.
They don't do nothing. I see semis going through Woodstock 45, 50 miles an hour every day, and they don't do nothing about it. It ain't just the semis, it's everybody.
You know, I guess I don't think it is. I know they have that speed sign or whatever.
That don't mean nothing.
Well,
I've seen semis come over the hill from the south. They stand on the gas and they go flying past my house like 45, 50 miles an hour. The deputy never shows up in Woodstock until after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He does a 10-second drive-through. He's gone. They don't write speeding tickets. They don't do nothing. We're actually getting the same coverage that Holland's getting, which is nothing.
yeah, frankly, I find it troubling that Holland doesn't have coverage.
Well, we're getting the same coverage they're getting, which is nothing.
I don't believe that to be true, but
It's true.
so you're just wanting them to write more speeding tickets?
They don't write any speeding tickets. They don't do nothing. They drive into town after 4 o'clock. They never show up before 4 o'clock. They do a 10-second drive-through. They're gone. They're gone. They don't come back. They don't do nothing.
I would guess they're probably there at night when, you know, it's more likely to have a problem than maybe you don't see them because you're sleeping.
They don't do nothing during the day. They never show up during the day. They don't do nothing. Right now, we're getting the same coverage Holland's getting, which is nothing. You got it?
I understand that that's your opinion.
Sir, may I ask you a question? You'd commented about how your taxes go up $1,000 a year out of pocket. Have you also looked at it from the perspective, what do you own for property? How much property have you got that's being taxed?
I got a fair amount.
And, you know, we're all victims of inflation like everybody else is. We all.
Oh, that's because government is printing fake money.
That's beyond our control here.
Yeah, well.
So we also see our property values go up. So you have seen.
Well, right now, I think you got the property values. They're falsified. They're too high. They're fake.
You don't think you could sell your property for what's assessed out?
Nope. Nope.
Have
I'm
you-
just like everybody else. I'm tired of the tax increases.
What other land in your vicinity has changed hands recently? Are those sale prices comparable, do you think, to your property?
If the people would have asked me before they bought them, I would have told them not to do it.
That they're paying too much for the land?
They're paying too much for the property.
Well, and it's my own personal opinion too. I think in a lot of cases, we've seen investors that don't realize what it takes to cash flow a piece of property, buying property just for the investment value itself, and that's driven the price up. But again, that's beyond our control. That's the going price of the land.
Well, there's two parcels in Woodstock. If they would have asked me before they bought them, I would have told them not to do it because it's twice too much. I think everything is valued twice what it should be.
I certainly understand your frustration. Do you have any suggestions of what we could do to help this situation?
I think it's too late. You got everything falsified. You got all the property values driven up to it's a fictitious number.
But it's based on actual sales.
Well, that goes back to the
If-
two people that bought in Woodstock. They should have never bought it because it was twice too high.
But I mean, it's their own fault for paying too much if that's the case.
Willing buyer, willing seller. I mean,
No,
it's still, you know, the economy, they can do what they want to do. If they want to buy it, I guess they're going to buy it.
Well,
Of course,
And that affects sales.
when the assessments are calculated, they take a look at fair market value, and they also look at sales in the vicinity. That's the barometer they use to judge what that value is worth.
well, right now, if something happens to my house in Woodstock, I'm not gonna fix it. It's just gonna be another barren piece of ground. I'm not gonna fix it. I ain't gonna, it's just not worth it. I've actually had a couple, they wanted to move to Pipestone. I told them not to do it. You're never gonna be happy in Pipestone. And that's the way I feel. There's no way anybody's ever gonna be happy in Pipestone. Right now, I'm not happy with the taxes and nobody is. What else you want to talk about? I told you the other night, when I see a meth head flip out and beat the hell out of one of the deputies, I'm gonna watch. And I'm not gonna do anything to help him. After the way they've treated me, the hell with you. You understand that?
You,
I don't think you do. I've called the sheriff's department about truck speeding through town, and all they do is get on the radio and blab my name all over the radio, so everybody with the scanner knows who I am. Where's my rights? Well, where are they? Do they have the right to do that?
Ooh,
The sheriff's department. Blab my name all over the radio so everybody with the scanner hears it? And then they don't show up and do anything about the truck that's speeding through town.
fortunately, it's legal for a person to own a scanner and listen to what's going on.
I don't see why they have the right to blab my name all over the radio.
I don't know that. I have no idea. Do you have a scanner?
Nope.
And I would think
I
that,
don't know.
you know, if it's anonymity that you're looking for, when you call in a complaint to the sheriff's office, they don't require you to give your name. You can give it anonymous.
Well, they sure like to blab my name all over the radio. And right now, if something happens, I'm not gonna help them. Just like you guys. Something happens, too bad. I shouldn't have that attitude, but I do.
Sorry you feel that way. Thank you for your comments.
I don't think you care.
What would
I
you
don't
like
think
us?
you care about our taxes.
Yes, we do care about your taxes.
I don't think you do. I think you guys just got the attitude, the taxpayer is a cash cow that can afford everything. Just like the school district, they think that there's a cash cow that can afford everything. Well, they sure do. You people in Pipestone are notorious for doing one stupid thing after another. All the other towns talk about Pipestone. You do one stupid thing after another and you never learn. The school is the perfect example.
Guess you'd have to take that up with the school.
I would like to interject one thought, though. One of the decisions that we've made here that I'm quite proud of is the fact that we are very, very diligent about not going into debt. There's very few counties that can actually say that.
8 or less in Minnesota.
Yes, eight or less in Minnesota that don't have debt. We could take we're not happy with this levy amount at all. And again, I specifically want to point out Highway Department. Thank you, Nick, for taking some chances, because he took a calculated gamble saying, well, we can defer some of these costs. You defer it too much, pay Peter, pay Paul, whatever, that might bite us. But we took that chance, saying, let's defer these expenses to hold this down. Another thing I know some counties do, they'll actually use their reserves down to zero. And that's not good business management, because if you have an unforeseen expense come up, then you're really stuck. And some go even further and they borrow money to hold their levy down. So I'm quite proud of the job that these commissioners and the commissioners that came before me, and I'll defend Steve as our administrator. He works very hard and I'm very proud of the work that he does. And he's not here for anything other than public service.
Well, I still want to know what Thanksgiving Day costed the taxpayers.
Well, let's rough ball, just off.
No, I don't want to
100
rough ball it. I want an
employees we got?
actual
100
number.
and
Take 90 employees,
employees.
averaging $25 an hour.
Yeah, then you got, their benefits and social security and so forth and so on. So it's a substantial amount of
It
money.
is.
But what's the alternative? Are you saying that we shouldn't give our employees? the
Just
day off?
curious
Oh, it's-
how expensive the government employees are on a day off. You got how many paid holidays a year?
Our HR persons.
Pretty damn expensive.
Don't we have, are there 10 official holidays now?
Yep. We're at 10.
Ken?
State mandated one last year that we had nothing to do with.
So what, we could put the pencil to it and actually figure out down to the penny what it actually costs, but just.
I want to know what that figure actually is.
I'll punch you some numbers together. What's your name, sir?
Daryl Hurd?
You don't have to give me your phone number and I'll get it when we're done with the meeting. That way you don't have,
Um,
you don't have to blab your phone number all over the video that's gonna go out. So you can write it down, and give it to me.
Right now, our sheriff's department is worthless.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
They are just absolutely.
I'm sorry you feel that way. And there are plenty of people around this county that know that they do a very good job. And I'm
They
sorry
don't.
you feel it. I know that's your opinion,
The
but I'm
people
sorry.
in
you
this
feel that
county
way.
don't respect them.
I don't-
Half
I
the
don't
people are not happy with the sheriff's department.
believe that, but you're welcome to your opinion on that.
I'm gonna say half the people in this county don't trust them.
Again, that's your opinion on that.
I don't trust them.
I'm sorry to hear that. You may need them someday.
I'll call 911 someday and they better respond.
Sure they will. You might
I'm
need the
sure
first
they'll take their
responders someday
diddly
too.
time doing it
Might need
too.
an ambulance someday too. And those deputies work their butts off and they help everybody they can. Some people are mad at them. That's normal.
We got
people-
semi
A lot
speeding
of
through
people do
town
not
on
like
every
law
day.
enforcement. I'm sorry. to
Every
hear that.
day it goes on, truck speeding
I hear
through
you.
town and they don't do nothing about it. And I mean it.
I will certainly mention it to Keith and let him know that you were here and say have complaints about speeding trucks through Woodstock.
I've complained to them and they don't,
Let him know too.
Think about it.
Best I can do.
they don't do nothing about it.
Remember a few years ago, we had that tragic accident south of Woodstock there on the 30, terrible tragedy. Who was out there picking up the pieces? It was our EMS and our law enforcement out there dealing with a sad, sad, tragic situation.
Well, Casas claims somebody blows that stop sign once a week going north or south like it's not even there. And it's gotten, the traffic going through Woodstock has gotten worse over the years because of GPS and all that with the trucks.
Of course, yeah.
And it's all the locals from Edgerton that are mainly behind it. I can go right down the line and pick out who's Dutch when they go through town. They don't like to slow down for nothing.
Okay, Daryl, I will mention it to Keith. Let him know you're not happy with it.
Well, he's gonna do the same thing. Nothing.
I will let him know.
He's nothing. But anyway, I'm tired of tax increases, just like everybody else.
Thank you for your comments.
I don't see you guys doing a thing about it.
Good evening. Can you please state your name for the record?
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Tyler Frichte. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you this evening. Greatly appreciate your guys' efforts. I kind of come in here, I had a page wrote up about trying to lower the taxes. I'm very happy to see that you guys have done a lot of work to already do that. I'm not going to read 3/4 of what I had wrote down here. I do want to make a point though. I think it was mentioned earlier here, Steve, as you're going through the truth and taxations, the ability to bring in commercial companies, properties, or some companies for commercial properties. I'm curious if there's been anything done to try to improve that or promote that rather.
Not totally that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. I know it just growing up in the community, seeing some of those bigger companies kind of come and go throughout my short life too. That is something I do think that Pipestone is certainly missing. Just trying to make Pipestone County attractive, but also I know that on seek counties either, right? They're not going to seek a town. And so certainly being active and trying to seek some of those companies.
Mr. Chair, Tyler, if I may just share some of my own thoughts
Please.
as well too. You may know that I was a Suzlon employee for years. And when the wind blades, that was one of the frustrations that I had as a Suzlon employee, that potential, that great potential, and how it didn't really pan out. From my perspective, part of the issue, I wasn't with the blade construction part. I was with the operations maintenance of the turbines. But the employees they needed skilled employees. So the marketplace for that. So perhaps they tried to get too big too quick, but in any case, they couldn't pull the workforce together that they needed. So that's why they were busing workers in from Worthington to Sioux Falls and so forth. So that didn't really help our local economy that much. But when they stopped making blades and then Suzlon tried to market that building, and I was involved in part of that marketing effort, and we had a number of really great potential employers that looked at it. And they always came back and said, well, you don't have the workforce here to sustain their business model. So then the whole problem is, well, we need housing. Well, you have to have workers that can afford the houses to buy the houses that you build. So the chicken and the egg, what comes first? So it is. And there are programs that we're working on both through our tax deferments for new construction for houses is one of the areas we try to help stimulate the economy as far as construction for housing. So it's not an easy problem to solve, but I do appreciate the fact that you recognize it. And I'm hoping that in the future that you engage with it and do what you can to help solve this immense problem. How do you bring good employers in the community paying a living wage? That's really the key.
I think unfortunately, mothership of Minnesota is probably a tougher deterrent of, or a bigger deterrent of those companies too. I mean, over the past
Business environment.
5 years, yeah, we've seen how many residents of Minnesota leave. Even in the county of Pipestone itself, seeing that population deteriorate over the years too. And so just.
Being
we
a
talked about-
being a border county is a problem.
Yes, it is.
But
Earlier, we talked about the wind production tax, and of course, now it's renewable because solar is the same thing as well, too. And, we started out very good with that because we were one of the first counties because of the ridge and so forth to have that generation of that revenue. But again, we don't have enough transmission lines to get that product out to market. So then they curtail, they shut off different turbines. I know you've probably heard part of this. So there's another case, frustration. So we're really working hard to advocate for more transmission lines so we can get more of our cash product out to market. So it's, yes, I understand how complex it is. We need your help.
Dallas, your comment as far as a border county too, I wonder if you can change that thought instead of that being a negative. How do you spin that and say, hey, come to Minnesota, what do we have to offer? There's stuff that we have to offer too, that's greater than
The
Moody
problem
County,
in
Brookings
Minnesota
County, whatever that
brings
is.
on.
What's that?
We have to market something that we're better than what the negative impacts of living in Minnesota are.
Correct. Mhm. Yep. Which is why we live here, right? We aren't in South Dakota. Actually, myself, my wife and family just moved here 4 years ago. Yeah, trying to see some of those benefits of, what, hey, let's promote that school side of things, the activity side of things, and how can that be a benefit rather than a disadvantage from a tax standpoint.
I have some friends that have land and they still farm in Minnesota. He lives in Brandon right now. I have a landlord that sold all his Minnesota land and replaced it with South Dakota land. That's things that we have no control over, and
It certainly happens, but there's that constant spin of it, right? And so how do we continue to spin that the other way? Right.
Personally, when I made the choice to move here 40 some years ago, it was the quality of the education for my children. I knew that I was moving into a higher tax area than where I grew up originally in Del Rapids, and I was down in Iowa for a number of years before I got. And to me, it was worth it to give my children a good quality education. Not to say you can't get a good education in South Dakota or Iowa, but I chose to live here. It's not by happenstance that I'm here.
I represent Edgerton area, and that was the only district that increased in size in the last 10 years.
Very good.
And part of that is the educational value
Absolutely.
in a smaller school and a public school and a Christian school, which both of them are adding on right now. They got the machines going right now. Public school's adding on, so is a grade school. Grade school and the high school and the Christian school are adding on.
You know how many students when growing up in Minnehaha County, a lot of my other peers came to Southwest Christian from there. You know how many are coming from other states now?
No, there's not. Other states have their own Sioux Falls Christian. As
That was just getting started when I was in school.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I've got. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your efforts.
Appreciate your time,
you.
Tyler. Thank you. Is there anybody else want to speak for public comment? Any thoughts, suggestions, comments, questions?
Let's take a minute to thank our employees that work on putting these figures together for us.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work that you guys do, and I know that whole assessing, not a fun job.
Complicated job, and you deal with the public about this a lot more than we do in the settings too. You deal with it every week, every month, and thank you for stepping up and doing that. Anything else? Gentlemen, any other comments, questions? If there's nothing, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.